Elena stared at the signed deed to the Miller Timber Mill, the family business that carried 4 generations of dust and profit. Her hand shook, but she did not drop the pen. Across the mahogany table sat her older brother, Marcus, his face completely blank. If Elena signed this document, she surrendered her entire inheritance, effectively erasing 40 years of her own labor to save the family from a public bankruptcy scandal Marcus caused. If she walked away, the mill died, taking Marcus's freedom with it. The clock on the wall ticked. She had exactly 2 minutes before the auditors walked through the door. The sibling rivalry started decades ago in the sawdust pits of the Oregon mill. Their father, Arthur Miller, built the company on a strict rule: production never stops. Arthur favored Marcus, the firstborn, grooming him for the executive chair, despite Marcus's consistent financial recklessness. Elena stayed in the shadows, managing the actual operations, tracking the supply chains, and fixing the ledger errors Marcus left behind. When Arthur died 5 years ago, he left the voting shares split 50-50. Marcus immediately leveraged his half to fund a massive, unauthorized expansion into automated shipping logistics. Elena warned him about the debt load. Marcus ignored her, driven by a need to outshine their father's ghost. 3 months ago, the market collapsed, and Marcus's hidden offshore loans defaulted. Elena refused to let the mill fail without a fight. She spent weeks auditing the company books line by line, discovering that Marcus had forged her signature on 3 separate loan guarantees. She confronted him in the main warehouse. Instead of apologizing, Marcus blamed the economy and begged her to use her personal real estate portfolio as collateral to secure a consolidation loan. Elena's closest allies, the mill's veteran foreman, Thomas, and her longtime legal counsel, Sarah, offered conflicting paths. Thomas urged Elena to cut Marcus loose, protect the workers, and buy the assets back through liquidation. Sarah warned that liquidation would trigger lawsuits, stripping Elena of her retirement savings. Elena attempted to negotiate a buyout with an external logistics firm to cover Marcus's debt. She spent weeks drafting the contract, only for Marcus to sabotage the meeting by demanding a permanent seat on the new board. The buyers walked. The stress fractured the remaining bond between the siblings. They communicated only through written memos. Elena's old farm dog Buster, who used to sleep under Marcus's desk, stopped leaving Elena's side entirely. Last week, federal auditors flagged the forged signatures. The investigator gave Elena a choice: file an official fraud report against Marcus by Monday morning or accept joint liability for the debt. That brought them to Monday morning in the mill's boardroom. The auditors waited downstairs. Marcus pushed the restructuring deed across the table. It required Elena to assume full financial responsibility for the forged loans, stripping her of her assets, but keeping Marcus out of prison and keeping the mill operational under a strict receivership plan. Marcus broke the silence. He told her that if she filed the fraud report, he would go to prison, and the family name would be ruined forever. Elena looked out the window at the smoke rising from the kilns. She realized she could not save both her brother and her own future. She picked up the pen, looked Marcus in the eye, and crossed out her signature line on the deed. She chose to hand the fraud files directly to the auditors. The aftermath was swift. The state police arrested Marcus at his home the next morning. The Miller Timber Mill entered forced liquidation, and a regional conglomerate bought the equipment 3 weeks later. 6 months passed. Elena moved away from the mill town, purchasing a small property 2 hours north. The corporate lawsuits ended, leaving her with a modest settlement but no connection to the timber industry. Marcus refused all prison visits or phone calls from her. Elena spent her mornings walking Buster along the new property boundary. The family business was gone, and the silence between the siblings became permanent.